What happens when you come across something you'd prefer not to meet?
I was just here exploring. I thought it was a baby.
Tonight, we're exploring some of the most unsettling urban exploration encounters that have ever been captured on camera. Stay tuned. The last clip will definitely send chills down your spine. I'll kill you.
I was just here exploring. I thought it was a baby.
Would you willingly go into a long-abandoned mansion, knowing that it was once home to a high satanic priest, well known in the area for performing devilish rituals and human sacrifices? Well, this man sure did, and what he found there will probably live with him for the rest of his life. Somewhere in Ontario, Canada, the mansion sits abandoned on the real estate market, with no one brave enough to ever consider living there. Several people have tried, but no one seems to make it past a week. Upon the man's exploration, the mansion seems to be in pretty good shape. Definitely long abandoned, but in good shape nonetheless. It's definitely creepy, as its haunted past definitely can be seen in plain sight. The man inexplicably becomes very nauseous upon entering, feeling as though he definitely shouldn't be there. He immediately begins to hear the sounds of footsteps as he's wandering around the basement.
I've been hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping.
So, he goes back upstairs to explore. He begins to hear what sounds like some very heavy breathing, almost as if a dog is panting. As he makes his way to the third floor, he begins to hear very obvious commotion coming from one of the rooms.
My keys are making noises. Freaking somebody down there, dude.
He makes his presence known. As he continues carefully up the flight of stairs, a man can be heard screaming, "I'll kill you!" With that, the man quickly hurries himself outside to escape.
I was just here exploring. I thought it was a baby.
Obviously no longer welcome in the Devil House. How do you think you'd have handled this? Or would you haven't even bothered to begin with? Room 666.
What the hell? Somebody was bleeding.
If you were to find out what looks like fresh blood on an urban exploration, do you think you'd stick around? Well, this next guy definitely did, and what he managed to find will leave you, well, rather unsettled. In what looks like to be an abandoned hospital of some kind, a brave urban explorer is dutifully making his way through the property. It's the dead of night, and the man is breathing rather heavily. According to him, there is an unnaturally foul smell coming from somewhere, though luckily, he hasn't confirmed the source. Upon turning a hallway though, he discovers what looks to be several drops of fresh blood.
Oh shit, there's a bunch. Oh, it's a trail of blood.
As he continues walking in the blood's trail, he finds that it leads to a door with 666 graffitied onto it. Hesitantly, he opens the door and finds even more fresh blood, leading to a single abandoned chair in the middle of the room.
What the hell? Somebody was bleeding.
With someone's missing shoe right in sight. The chair is covered in blood too, and it seems as though this is where the blood stops. What could have happened here? Was this something innocent, like an accidental cut, or something more sinister entirely? Whatever the circumstances, fresh blood is about the last thing you'll ever want to find, anywhere.
What the hell? Somebody was bleeding.
Man in Black.
Alright.
In this next one, it's frankly very difficult to tell if what's captured here is paranormal or not. The jury's definitely out, so we'll let you decide this one for yourself. The premise here is the same as always, yet another urban explorer finding a place that doesn't seem too inviting in the slightest. This time, however, it's an abandoned hospital that's being explored. And honestly, that seems to be the most unnerving kind of abandoned place there is. It's extremely decrepit, this building, and most of it has been ravaged by looters and explorers alike. The state of the place is definitely off-putting, to say the least. Spanning over 1 mile, it's a lot to take in. So, this explorer is doing it in phases. And of course, his last visit is the one that will live with him forever.
Ah! Oh my god, what the hell?
Most of the video is pretty tame, though the man is definitely feeling the anxiety throughout. It isn't until the end that the following footage is captured. Reaching the end of a long hallway, the man comes to a fork, deciding to pursue the right hallway instead of the left, which he likely regretted later. He then makes his way through the hallway. He hears commotion coming from a room to his left. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the shadows, stops to look at the man for a brief moment, only to vanish into another room.
Alright.
It looks entirely black, like a shadow. If it is indeed a person though, it's dressed in one of those black bodysuits that covers the face entirely. Paranormal or not, it's not the kind of thing you want to see wandering the halls of an abandoned hospital. So, what do you make of this? Paranormal or just abnormal? You decide.
Alright.
School surprise. There's something about an abandoned school that sends a chill down the spine, especially when it looks like it was abandoned in a hurry. It really makes you wonder what that last school day was really like. Unfortunately for these urban explorers, they don't get to find out too much, as their exploration ends just as soon as it begins. Armed with their GoPro in hand, these explorers enter the abandoned Robert Fulton School in New Jersey, which has sat abandoned for decades. As they wander around aimlessly through the labyrinthian hallways, littered with broken desks and decaying notebooks, the air is unnaturally stiff. When they reach a corner, they discover a room hidden behind what looks to be a newer yellow curtain. Upon pulling the curtain back, a full-bodied scream interrupts the silence that sends the explorers running. The video cuts there, but those explorers learned a lesson that night. You just never know what you'll end up finding. Triple threat. It's pretty rare to catch one paranormal experience, but to capture 3 in one single session is impressive, as it is absolutely terrifying. This next one's also set in an abandoned school, though this one's history is rather impressive to say the least. Built in 1846 and closed in 2013, this building has seen its fair share of history, nearly 200 years of it in fact. It has seen hundreds of thousands of students spanning several generations, so it's safe to say the building itself gives off a rather unnerving energy indeed. Sitting abandoned for over 9 years in the heart of Cleveland, Ohio, the school has definitely seen its better days. On a cold autumn night, an urban explorer is making his way through the school's ruins, and what happens to him during his exploration is as eerie as it is unnerving. Keep in mind, the explorer goes on to state that it is only when this was uploaded to YouTube did he manage to spot all the activity, and he explains that he's actually surprised he caught anything, as the trip for him was rather uneventful in the moment, which makes it all the more unsettling. And it doesn't take long for the action to start either. The very first figure spotted is a shadow figure bolting away from the left-hand side of the hallway. As he continues onto what looks like the former kitchens, a pale, ghostly face appears in one of the defunct ovens, sitting abandoned, and fades out just as the explorer passes. The next one appears mere moments later, and is probably the most eerie of them all, as it is a child-sized shadow that appears only to dart quickly out of view as the man makes his way through the hallway. Triple-double indeed. One thing is for certain, this school's certainly not on our destination list, that's for sure. Heartstopper. After receiving a call from an elderly couple desperate to solve a terrifying haunting, these two investigators encountered something that will forever alter the rest of their lives. As the investigators explained, the couple reached out to them initially to report the regular old occurrences: doors opening and closing, disembodied voices, footsteps, and abnormal sounds. But there were a few other instances that piqued the investigators' interest. From an increase of snakes in their property and a spider problem that would only occur after the couple had a paranormal experience. The couple also provided them with a unique backstory to their property, with the previous homeowners experiencing extreme marital abuse that eventually led to the wife's ultimate demise on the property itself. Reports are that she drowned, but the community has long suspected foul play. The investigators soon arrive, and immediately, things begin to take a turn for the worst. After deciding to communicate with the spirit via a Ouija board, the two investigators start to hear a strange bubbling coming up from the water. The atmosphere has gone completely silent, with no sounds of birds or insects anywhere. The bubbling soon crescendos into what sounded like an object reaching the top of the water, but upon looking, nothing could be immediately seen. Though the second the investigators ask the Ouija board another question, the noises in the water occur yet again, and suddenly, something actually emerges from the water. It looks as if it is a long-haired upper torso with glowing white eyes staring right back at them. Terrifying. The two investigators begin to run, as it sounds like the figure is coming closer, though the camera cuts before it reaches shore. The two investigators claim that this experience has shocked them to the core, with both reporting they have not achieved a peaceful night's sleep since.